All right, welcome to episode number 2 of Ran Out of Talent. This time we have a couple more hosts. Marshall Scari's here with us. Say hi, Marshall.
Hello.
Eric Swanson is also with us. Say hi, Eric.
Hello.
Also, we have Greg Gerton with us.
Hello.
And me, Joe Zer Jr.
Say hello.
Hello.
This is a lot of hosts. I think I'm going to put myself back to guest level.
I'm going to step down one notch, too.
Well, I was thinking this would be a good episode to get you to introduce them, maybe alternate, because Eric's out of town a lot, and Marshall's out of town sometimes. So, maybe alternate, and it'd be good.
Yeah.
Third chair type deal.
Well, you don't want to like start a new job and become the manager right off the bat before you've actually done some of the basic skills first.
I don't think anybody's putting you on the spot.
Maybe.
You're good to, show up, hit or miss. And
we're going to find out when the YouTube comments start rolling in.
Maybe we'll just be booed clear right out of the rotation. There'll never even be a second time.
Yeah.
The big question is, the food, the grill, the beer, everything else. It makes.
I'm going to be on my best behavior just so I can come back to the
Yes.
For that, I'm always looking for some conflict.
Let me tell you, if you're looking for a good time, come to Mr. Greg Gerton's house because him and his wife put on quite a spread.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Just you have to look out for his address. It's written in Sharpie on his mailbox.
And it's been rained on a couple of times, so...
Yeah. We try to make sure it's not real easy to find.
Just so the mailman can read the numbers right.
Greg has people that are trying to actively kill him, so he's...
Yeah. We can watch out for that.
So he's formed the first RC compound that I'm aware of. There may be some in Wyoming and Montana, but this may be the first one in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Canopy of trees.
And actually started deforestation for a little RC track. We'll see how far that goes, but...
That's going to be nothing more than a good practice track. So
But we started killing Mother Nature, and that's a plus.
Yes.
Well, practice track with sodium halogen lights and driver stand. And,
I didn't put limits on technology. I put limits on, what it was going to be involved.
Okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, we'll kick this off today going in round number 2 of the Super Saturday Electric Series at Rick's Hobby Farm. That was, to say the least, brutal. We had to reschedule. The original schedule date was May 4th. At that point, the track was under snow. I mean, that might be what we get for trying to have a race in what I like to call Minnesota Junior, a.k.a. Wisconsin.
The Minnesota Annex.
All right, where did that come from?
Should I take offense to that or be proud? I don't know.
I've always thought of Wisconsin as Minnesota Junior.
You have to describe the quality with your... Is it the amount of drunk drivers or the amount of...
Deer?
I think...
Kill on the side of the road?
Oh, speaking of that, we'll get into that. They don't pick up their frickin' deer kill in Wisconsin anymore. They just let it rot. Off Highway 64, there's some gnarly smells.
Ugh.
Anytime you go into Wisconsin, there's some sort of smell.
Yeah. But anyways, so we reschedule a race for May 11th. Okay, no considerable snow. We had ice chips fall from the sky for about 15-20 seconds.
So I thought it was hail.
No, it wasn't hail.
It looked like snow on the driver's stand, though.
Yeah, it looked like it wasn't even pea size. It was just sleet snow for about 15 seconds.
Awesome.
Yeah. We had constant 20-mile-an-hour wind with 40-mile-an-hour gusts. Made a short course truck real pleasant.
Josh Gutowski lost his pop-up tent at the end of the race there when the bar finally gave.
Yep.
Was he the only one who lost a tent, or were there others?
He was the only one that I saw lose one. Yeah.
Because usually if you lose one, you lose more than one.
And
I was tied to his, so I guess it saved mine.
Wow. Wow. That's unfortunate.
So we'll start out with stock buggy. Pretty good turnout for stock buggy this time around. 8
A little bit better than the 3 the first round.
Yep.
Seems to have taken off. I know we've gotten quite a few pre-registered for the next round.
Got 5 pre-registered so far.
With different people, I think, as well.
A couple different people.
I know Greg Menner's joining in this time.
He has the pre-registered, so there's
He will be there. I talked to him earlier this morning. He got wife approval to attend. He's got a brand new X6.
Oh.
He's dying to get that new upgrade for the Cubed.
Yep.
So he will be there.
Cool. Well, anyways, Greg here ran away with it with over a lap, went on it.
Cherry picker.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Was my mic on? Sorry.
You're supposed to be on for that.
Senior and Bruce said had a battle the last couple laps. There's a 4-second gap between them at the end. I think Senior just held on. Bruce said was really starting to catch him on the last few laps.
Your dad decided to spend some money on his buggy now, too, by the way.
Yeah, I heard he got big bore shocks.
That's why it snowed.
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So, finally.
Yeah. It is Bruce Stead third, and then Cart Luca fourth, Brandon Schultz fifth, Jay Campbell and Scott Schultz. No real good battles going on there, but I'm glad to see we got a class of that. Next, we had a mix of Pro 2 and Pro Light. Actually, most of them were Pro 2, and I combined the wrong class and made it into Pro Light. And by the way, people out there running RC Scoring Pro, do not combine your classes with the combine class option under the classes tab. That makes your life a living hell when it comes to sorting points and stuff later on, because you totally lose that class ID you combine into. Kid I never heard of, Kyle Schmidt. Have any of you guys heard of this guy?
No, I haven't
I
heard
don't
of
think
him.
I've met him.
He came in, he TQ'd Pro 2, Joe Perrin TQ'd the whole class but Pro Light, but he TQ'd the Pro 2 section of it.
Was he the one with wings on the side of his car?
Yeah, but those were legal. Those are the additions you can screw on that we never did.
Oh, those weren't the third channel ones that just pop out when you're in the jump?
Oh, yeah.
We could stalk him on Facebook and describe the action on the podcast.
Yeah. But anyways, he was driving like his car wasn't affected by the wind at all.
He'll probably get you a win in short course on a win day.
Yeah. Hey, that's my jerk.
Well, his fast lap is a second faster than anybody else's.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just drank Joe's beer.
Yeah.
I'm going to check myself into the hospital now or later.
Well, it takes about 12 hours to kick in what I got, so you got time.
We're only about 40
Enjoy
minutes
it,
from Betty Ford, I think, so we'll get you over there.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Joe.
Yeah, I know. Hunter came.
I'm not kidding.
The alcohol might take care of it, though.
Yeah. John Hunter came in second. And then Kyle Schmidt's, I believe, brother, Drew Schmidt, came into third. I've never heard of these Schmidt kids before, but they came in and they did very well.
Fast as Schmidt.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to ask around to see if they're from Wisconsin or something?
No, I was behind the booth, and then they were gone before the end of the day, and I had no chance. I wish I would have.
They weren't wearing, like, Green Bay Packers starter jackets or anything? Or?
No. Oh, no.
Okay.
I did see
Starting
them.
still around.
Yeah, they sold at Walmart.
Wow,
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
convenient.
Stunts, really. I did not see that coming.
That's what happens when you go out of style. You try to stay on the edge of cool, and then you just take a crap into Walmart land. But anyways, yeah, Pro 2 was okay. Pro Light, Sam Sovacool and Ben Sovacool left early. Sam was qualified up there, but they left early basically because of the wind. Joe Perrin, our overall TQ, he broke out early. So that brings us into modified truck.
So I got a question on this, Joe.
Nope. Okay.
So you run qual points, right?
Yep.
So when one person has just one bad run, that does not mean that takes them out of first place, right?
Correct. It's
Okay.
It's best points. But the third is used as tiebreaker.
Yeah, okay. I just heard something on the driver's stand where somebody thought that they should have been first or They were only in second because they had one bad run. I was just curious.
Were you causing trouble on the driver's stand, Greg?
No, but I did happen to get ran into in the first jump section. And
I wonder by who.
no, it was just a question. I thought it was
Okay.
I thought it was best out of 3.
No.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, so 2 out of 3 would have been better than at that point, right?
But it depends if you're tied with somebody, then it goes to the tiebreaker.
Huh.
But yeah,
Sounds complicated. Like one run maybe wouldn't have hosed him.
they could have. Unless he got a 0-0.
Okay, we can move on.
Unless you get a 0-0, you are not guaranteed.
The great thing about Rocket Round qualifying, especially on tracks that don't change, like I'm sure that track
changed.
at all.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that track changed
Huh.
every round.
We started running Goosebumps and ended up running Impacts. I mean,
Wow.
3s and Impacts, whatever your choice was.
What was the tire for the Sleet Storm? Did anybody figure that out?
Goosebumps.
The track was so dry, you sucked it right in and kept going.
Okay.
We ran it dry, which is the proper way to run Rick's Hobby Farm.
Was the dust, no, you said it was windy, so the dust was not a problem. Because it used to be, I don't know if he's changed the dirt, but it used to be out there that if you let the track go dry, it would form a layer of dust on top about a 1/16 to an eighth of an inch thick, and it was very thick dust, and even 1 or 2 or 3/8 scales couldn't really break that dust off the surface.
It still does, but not as bad, and you can eventually just get it off the track. It will warm up on you, but eventually it will go away. And
So, I think we actually ran into. I think it turned out perfect from a track surface standpoint. The track actually almost had a groove at the end of the day. It was so. I mean, we were able to just pull the trigger out of the corner. There was no worries. However, the lips were a little uneven, but I think that was because there was snow on it the week before.
Yeah.
So
Could have something to do with it.
I wouldn't really blame anybody for that, but it was one of those. I think if the race had been a month later and there was some more track prep done to the track, it was a very good racing surface.
Well, the Super Saturday Electric Series is only in its sophomore year, so we're still learning.
But, I mean, there was no way, no matter what year you're in, there's no way to control the fact there was snow on the track a week before.
That's true.
So.
Well, unless you have it in August, but
any track would have been in the same condition.
Yeah. But as a good battle, Mod Truck anyways, was a good battle between John Weeder and Kyle Holmberg. Kyle actually led the majority of that race, and he just basically ate crap on the last lap or two and let Weeda behind him. Or in front of him.
Don't you just hate eating crap?
Yeah.
First.
You know, when you lose the lead close to the end of a race, that's worse than eating crap. I mean, that taste stays in your mouth for months.
It was interesting to look at these results here too, because so John Weeda, if you're not familiar with the drivers in the area, he's kind of the on-road superstar. He's nationally fast in 12-scale stock on-road. He puts in a lot of effort in everything he does, and it has shown in his off-road driving. He can put that truck in the main pretty much anywhere now, and. So he held off Kyle Holmberg, who is also a young driver who has gathered a lot of speed in the last 2 years?
Yeah, year. He just started last summer with Hunter with those ready to run 22s.
Right. He's not been racing very long.
Yeah.
And he's gotten noticeably faster now. He makes mains. So it's just interesting to see these two guys out front, and it's a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And Hunter also was there a lot of the race, but Hunter, if you're listening, your stuff is way overpowered.
Oh, he's still doing that, huh?
Oh, he's still doing it. Even on the loose outdoor stuff. Even where you should be motoring way farther down than an indoor, he's motoring up. I mean, the kid's got skill. He's got to learn to work traffic a little better and calm down, but that comes with time.
Yeah, he's definitely driving 120% anytime he throws his car down.
He had the fastest lap by far.
Yeah.
But that's one lap.
Yeah, look where it got him. He ended up third.
Yeah, but third podium's still pretty good for only racing less than a year.
Yeah, it is. The Holmberg guys have been fun to watch. I'm looking forward to see how they progress as time goes on.
Kyle's raced a little bit of the stock buggy class as well, so I've gotten a chance to race with him quite a bit, and he's been a very clean racer as well.
Very much so. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I've raced against him several times down at MMR now on the AstroTurf stuff, and yeah, when you're in close quarters with him, you know how there are drivers where you get near them and you just kind of start tensing up because there may be a history there of incidents happening. You don't see that with Kyle.
No, he's a very clean racer. He earns the pass. He doesn't expect you to move for him.
For sure, and he's kind of picked up that really difficult skill to learn where when you're following traffic into a tight section, like you're straight away to a hairpin, and it's really hard to gauge that breaking point without getting into somebody. He's already kind of picked up on that.
Yeah.
He doesn't come plowing through you coming into a slow section, and that's hard to learn. So
he TQ'd that race at MMR, the last big race, right? Didn't he have all three classes?
I think you're buggy.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the first day after I left, I think he was TQ of all three that night.
Yeah, after the Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of changed the game around on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, that was a heck of a run that weekend. He's been very good on both surfaces too.
Yeah, and that's also something that's hard to learn too. So he's able to run on very, very high traction and very low traction. So
there's a good core group of young kids that run at MMR that I haven't seen a group like that in a long time. And you know, they're at a vulnerable age for staying with the hobby or not. You know.
Yeah.
Late teens, early 20s.
Find other things that gauge their.
If they stick it out, man, they'll be the next generation of fast guys. Cause
definitely.
They're just. You got Kyle Holmberg, Hunter. You know, has been making progress, but Dan Hammond, Statsman, those kids are pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh, I forget his name.
I don't remember his name.
Man.
We're searching for the name.
Losing listeners.
Well, anyways, let's keep going with this main here. So then, in fourth, staying up there is John Click. He's a longtime Minnesota racer. Clayton Kartluka moved from 10th to 5th. Girton with the choke.
The choke. I still blame John on that for calling me out, telling me I was going to choke on the.
You were telling yourself you were going to choke before the day started.
It's all right. I won more. I was in the top 3 in 3 classes, and it didn't work out.
Yeah. You ended up 6th, and Sprucestead 7th, Schultz 8th, Katowski 9th, Collins 10th. Good to see Bub running some off-road. Bullet 11th, and Johnny, last year's sportsman champion, bringing in the rear of the field. And that's kind of a tough situation to get into right there, John, going from sportsman to mod truck. That's such a big and competitive class.
Jumping in off the deep end.
It is. He really wanted to make the jump, too, though, so that made it a little bit easier decision. It was hard because he was very competitive on the sportsman level, but at the same time, you know, I think he needs a little bit of experience, and he's not going to get it until he makes that jump.
That's right. Next is Mod Buggy A-Main. 8 drivers in that as well. Stock Buggy, equal amount of entries. Weeda won that. I wonder why.
Oh my gosh.
I sense story time coming on.
So, when you've done something the entire race, you probably shouldn't change it on the last lap just because you had a 5-second lead.
Yeah.
I would agree with that assessment, yes.
I was trying not to crash, and what did I do? I crashed twice. Why?
Yep.
I mean, hey. And then I had Bub running around with his head cut off because I was yelling at him on the driver's dash.
So what you're saying is that John Weeda did not win that race.
You lost.
Okay.
John had some unfortunate accidents earlier. He had that race won, and then he ran into a corner marshal's foot.
Yep.
And that gave me a 5-second lead.
Yeah.
So yes, after that, I lost that race.
Yeah, but Weeda did TQ and win it.
Yeah, he had a great run. His buggy was in good shape all weekend.
Full 101 point.
What's Weeda running for cars these days in the off-road?
4.2.
Yep. He's running all AET4 too.
You know,
Sweet.
So
most people, I can't say all, but most people are staying with the major three manufacturers lately after they've seen debacles with the Schumacher and, well, some people are getting the Durango figured out, but you know what? At a local level, I confidently will say they will not be as fast as the top three. Kyosho, Associated, and Losi. They won't. I don't care who's driving it.
We're in a kind of a unique situation here in the state, though, where we don't have, well, until 510 opened, we haven't had one track indoor dirt to go and test on week after week after week.
Yeah.
And
I didn't miss that.
And you can't really learn a car unless you've got a very consistent environment to test in.
Yeah.
You know, the way things are here, we have to go to different tracks pretty much every week. That's hopefully going to change this summer with wheel brokers, but
Yep.
If you're constantly going to a different place with a new car, you're not used to it. Compound that with maybe not having set up knowledge, it's going to be basically impossible to succeed against guys who have had these cars for years and all that. So it's a tough task. Gets even tougher.
Marshall makes a good point. I mean, you could make a pretty strong argument that there's probably nobody in this state, outside of maybe the MMR kids, that can confidently say they have their car figured out. Because, like you said, it takes repetition on consistent surfaces and hours of testing. And the only thing anyone in the state really is able to do is race.
Yep.
And honestly, you don't learn nearly as much racing as you do in practice.
Yeah.
And there's not enough available practice days in the state for anybody to even really have a grasp of what's going on with their cars.
Oh, exactly. In 510, it's close for me, but for you guys living out in the Minneapolis area, it's an hour and 20-minute drive.
The main thing with that, though, is, it's a longer drive, but, we were able to race every week on the same dirt, and the conditions were pretty much the same. There was a period of time where the dirt was coming in, and we were all learning it, but once you got to that point, we were able to start doing those micro changes to set up.
I think next year,
to get that last couple tenths.
I think next year you're really going to see the benefit of that, because this year there were some changes throughout the year. I think Sean adjusted how he was working on the track as well, which really helped. And towards the end of the year, everybody just kind of figured that out. And I think starting now next winter, it seems like now the summer, Sean really wants to, I think, push more outdoors if he can.
Yeah.
And 510 will still be ready to go.
It will be if in a rain situation, but I think he'd rather run outdoors. I mean, just like anybody else, he's itching to get outdoors.
Yeah. We're Minnesota creatures. We're geared to go outside when it's nice.
Yeah. We get a couple months a year. So.
Well, 2 weeks left.
What I really meant by you guys a little farther away, you're going to come on a race day, but on a Wednesday practice night when you got work the next morning, that's going to be tough getting you out there to come and test.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I can't do.
You were hitting on the major three and how everybody kind of is sticking to that. I think some of that, too, is you can get a base setup with those three that is pretty much good anywhere, and you can kind of tweak from there.
And we got sponsor guys here helping, too.
And that really helps, So, I mean, you know that you're going to have Marshall, you know that you're going to have Chad, you know that you have those guys that you can go to and ask help when you have those cars. I guess, and you got Sean, you get to Kyosho. So, you really have all three covered.
Well, let's keep going with Mod Buggy. Sorry. So Weeda won that. Then is Greg second, Hunter Holmberg third, Kyle Holmberg fourth, Click fifth, Sinclair with the new Associated ride in sixth.
Oh, We switched up?
Yep. Schumacher four-wheeler from Castor. And that, in my opinion, the only acceptable Schumacher ride is a four-wheel buggy. So he did right there, and then he switched to a B4.2 for his two-wheeler.
Excellent.
Shad into 7th and Gutowski 8th. I mean, they're all within decent laps. No one under 11 laps, so that's quality. 4-wheel modified buggy was next. Good battle between John Huntner and Clayton Cartluca. Huntner came away with the win in that, and I was listening to Brewstead. Brewstead was announcing when I was up there racing, and Cartluca was there for most of the race. He just fell apart a little bit, and he's one of those new guys.
Yeah, he's another one of the kind of the newcomers to the scene who I hadn't heard of him until this last winter.
Yeah.
And
Clayton used to race a long time ago.
Did he?
I think he used to race at TCHR.
Okay, and I'm over 40, memory sucks,
Yeah.
but I noticed that suddenly he was in the main and his cars looked like he was doing pretty well, kind of out of nowhere, at least from my perspective. But
Yeah, well, he does very well with the 4-wheel drive buggy, too.
He does.
So yeah, Hunter won that one, and then Clayton second. Both me and my dad were a lap down. My dad took third, Joe Zer Sr. I unfortunately took fourth because that rhythm section bit me in the ass 5 times.
Oh boy.
No joking, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and that
All in a row, or were you able to
every other lap.
every other lap? Okay.
While cornering that race, I would say it was every one in a row, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a matter of degree.
And then Kelly Roberts took 5th with his new stretched out caster. They extended it like 13 millimeters or something stupid like that to get it up to par. That's where they should have been in the first place. I'm glad they saw the problem. There's Stefan Bedende in 6th, Hash in 7th. Soon-to-be brother-in-law Brian Olson coming in 8th, and Jay Campbell broke, and Josh Sinclair.
That's your soon-to-be brother-in-law?
Yep. My sister's getting married to him June 9th, or
something like that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Should we get you a calendar? Would that help?
Probably not listening, so I think we're okay.
Yeah. You know, I should probably know when my sister's getting married, but honestly, I'm just gonna show up wherever.
Someone will tell you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna miss it, so.
Someone
You'll
will
get a
call.
text half an hour beforehand. Are you?
Your dad will make sure you're there.
So yeah, I think that wraps it up for racing with the Super Saturday Electric Series. Light turnout is 48 entries, but with the reschedule and the win the way it was, it's understandable.
Weekend Warriors right there.
I heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Well done, gentlemen.
I probably just sound like we're hitting our mics against the table.
Or my head.
Not too far from the 4-wheel drive buggy class. I heard a nasty rumor that there could be a new 4-wheel drive buggy entering again. Would you guys foresee a chance at a revival of that class, or a little bit more?
This topic happens every 6 months for the last 50 years.
And does it happen, or do you think it just comes and goes?
It never happens.
Well, here's what happens with 4-wheel drive. One of the manufacturers releases a new car. Doesn't matter who.
Yep.
When that new car comes out, suddenly there is an interest in 4-wheel drive again. It flares up, and then people remember how difficult it is to work on 4-wheel drive cars. And after about 3-4 months, then you see the numbers start to fall away again. I don't know. The 4-wheel drive scene seems to be a little more robust this time around. We'll see if it sticks around. I do very much enjoy running my car, and I hope other people feel the same, because it's really fun to have a lot of horsepower and a lot of traction.
Yeah. It'll always be there.
I think there's a couple of reasons that we're seeing more 4-wheel drives now than ever. Obviously, the main thing is the advancement in electronic equipment. That always used to be the caveat to running 4-wheel drive, is that
For sure.
you would melt stuff down over and over and over again.
Yep.
If you any sort of hot, humid weather, you're burning up speed controls, you're melting through the body, you're blowing up battery cells. And the second thing is just the chassis now. I mean, the equipment's just way better.
Yeah.
Things are more efficient, they're stronger. I mean, we got cars with aluminum chassis now for 4-wheel drive.
That's stupid. It's not working.
So
Valence, go ahead.
that's kind of where that rumor came from.
Your Neumann seems to make it work.
Sounds like
And I'll make this argument. If he drove Associated, he'd be even a lap faster.
I don't know about that.
Put a lap on everyone at the Worlds then. I mean,
Yeah, I bet. Well, maybe
Abbott just released an aluminum chassis for the B44.
Yeah, it looks like crap.
really.
It looks like crap.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, just looks. I'm not a fan of the aluminum chassis 1, and for 2, I'm really not a fan of it in 4-wheel modified.
Why?
Because it just doesn't seem right.
But on what grounds?
To me, it seems more justified than on a 2-wheel drive buggy.
Yeah.
I looked at it I've looked at the Durango the 410 V3 many times because I almost went that route. I'm really happy I didn't.
Well, are you still suffering post-traumatic stress disorder from the DEX 210?
Oh, man.
I think that might be what it's rooted in.
Yeah, that was a little brutal, but no, it was. I don't know. It just doesn't seem. The whole car itself doesn't seem as quality, but then the aluminum chassis, it doesn't seem like. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It doesn't flex properly. I think it flexes too much. You don't have that top deck up there.
We have a different traction level, and you, Eric, you probably know more than the rest of us from anywhere else in the country. Outdoors, here, don't you feel that we maybe have a little bit looser track surfaces than some of the tracks that you...
All outdoor tracks in the country that are raced on for club racing are pretty much like this.
Are they really?
You can't make a club track.
So it's just it's more of a club race versus a...
Yeah, I mean, if you put 500 cars on a track for a week straight, no matter what dirt you're on, it's going to be vastly different than what you run on a weekly basis.
Yep.
It's hard to create controlled surface outdoors for club racing, basically.
Yeah.
Especially in non-arid climates, such as ours.
Sure. Well, I think the next thing we had on our list here was to talk about kind of the state of tires.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about the Nitro Series real quick.
Okay.
I'll just quick run through
Don't
that.
have any results? Oh, no.
Yeah, we don't have results because they up and changed the website.
Come on, Josh.
Yeah, Josh.
I will say that the updated MNRC site looks terrific.
There's a triple X on there.
Well, setting that aside.
For those that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not referring to like pornography. I'm talking about Team Losi Triple X.
Yeah,
their previous generation 2-wheel drive car, but they've upgraded their site. Looks much nicer, and we're just looking for results from round 2 is all.
Well, I can run through as much as I remember because, I am the announcer there, and I announced. I'll try to remember the best I can. ACL Buggy was a dogfight. Seth Van Dalen and Josh Ford both flamed out.
Okay.
Josh flamed out in the wrong spot. Seth flamed out right after pit road. He actually flamed out, came back, and ran away with that race. I actually stayed calm, all that. He did great.
Well, show up.
Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah.
If you click on that non-underlined link long enough, maybe it'll eventually be underlined.
Yeah.
Provide a link to something.
Yeah.
Just making sure it wasn't uploaded while we were talking.
Yeah, well, you never know. It might be uploaded now.
F5.
Go.
Yeah.
So Seth won.
Seth won it by about 13 seconds, and he actually dealt very well with the very changing tracks. It was wet. It was wet to low, dry crap to getting kind of okay. All within a half
Right
hour.
about when the tires started going bald.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Tony Slutton there?
Tony Slutton took second. He did not flame out. He was,
Okay.
You just lost power in your RC shop.
We're still good.
Yeah.
We just lost the aquarium there for a second.
Yeah.
Lights are out.
Yeah, time for the fish to go to bed.
Oh, it's on a timer?
Yeah.
That's pro.
It's actually on a computer.
You're so pro. Wow.
Yeah, but Tony took a solid second. Josh took third. He flamed out, I want to say, twice in that one.
Come on, Jeff.
And Jeff, just talking about last race,
Ended up being a weak glow plug.
he had that figured out. He said the motors were all figured out now.
The motors are.
Motors are never figured out.
Yeah, that's true. Having a weak glow plug, that takes a second to figure out. When you flame out and you put it on your box, it pops over right away again and goes. Well, you're not making glow plug yet.
When you're dealing with something that explodes multiple times in a matter of a fraction of a second, you never have it figured out.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, you're dealing with a 2-cycle diesel motor that runs on nitro meth. I mean, yeah, make it more difficult.
It's a 0.21 cubic centimeter entropy chamber. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. But yeah, Josh ended up being a glow plug, and it was a clock. He's got clockwork. Hold on, cut up right there.
Slow down, Joe.
Just move it a little closer.
Shut that off.
No, you're good now. You just have to get closer.
All right, are we gonna cut that part out, or should I?
Sure, I'll figure that out.
Yeah, link it at me.
Just FYI for everybody out there, Joe's headset can't handle.
It was bought at radio.
Yeah.
No.
Where?
What you're listening to is the sound of $35 of technology.
Yeah, I'll change that for the next one.
Swore into it one too many times, Joe.
Yeah, but the Fords have the clockwork motors working well. It was just a weak glow plug. That's the only reason he's flaming out. After they figured that out, he was cruising. Truck main.
Congratulations, Seth.
Yes,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Now, if we can sidetrack for just a moment.
Uh-oh.
I mean, we've talked about all these
Haven't
other
done that
drivers.
already?
We've talked about these other drivers. Seth Van Dalen, arguably probably one of the best young talents there is in the state.
Yep.
If he can get a few things figured out, with his race program and maybe his mental approach, sky's the limit for that kid.
That's what I want to talk about a little bit next about the Truggy main.
Sorry. See,
Yeah, that's
screwed
fine.
it up for you.
That's fine. No.
I think we're all on the same page there. I mean, he really is just. He's putting down fast lap after fast lap. He's making the car do things that.
Yeah.
It just.
And you gotta understand, he's 12 years old.
Yeah.
He still has a lot to figure out. I mean, if any of us were where he is now at the age of 12, we wouldn't be sitting here doing a stupid podcast. We'd be racing RC cars across the world.
I think one of the biggest things Seth needs is another 4 years of life experience.
Yeah.
Really, and opportunities, which I'm sure he'll get to deal with unexpected things happening.
Yep.
Well,
He's young and he's used to running, 14.8 every single lap, and then if something weird happens, he gets distracted.
Yeah.
Once he gets over that, that's kind of his biggest hurdle from what I can see.
and they've got more. I mean, it's only going to get better. His little brother is putting down fast laps right now, and he's only running.
Zach's going to be faster than Seth. I'm going to call that right now.
Well, what's funny about that right now,
And they're
Zach's
the same
fingers,
household.
Zach's fingers are so little that he can't push back on the brake. He's got to pull his finger out of the trigger and hit the backside of the trigger for the brakes. I was watching him. The first time I saw that was when I was announcing the race at 5:10. Just jumping on heats every now and again. And hold on, mic adjust. And I was watching him.
Still adjusting.
Yep.
There you go.
There we go.
You got to keep it.
Yeah, I got to keep
almost
the
like-
weight.
How about any of you folks out there in podcast listener land that would like to sponsor the Ran Out of Talent podcast and provide us with some new microphones?
Junior needs a new headset.
I had asked Sean if he was aware of the way his kid was driving, because I'm like, I've never seen that before. He's pulling his finger out of the trigger. And he's like, oh yeah, that's just the way he drives. It's like, well, awesome.
Nope.
Not to take anything away from the kids.
No,
They're obviously
that-
like the best, but they do have a track in their backyard.
Yeah.
That does help.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll have a track in Greg's backyard here soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to get something for, and again, that's not going to be a big race, but that's going to be like tonight where people can come over, have fun, eat.
I'll come and just eat.
Eat.
Stop at Von Hansen's Meat Market on the way, so you have something on the grill.
And then there just happens to be a track in the back.
Yeah. But anyways, I want to go through the Truggy main quick. Josh Ford won that with style.
Okay.
Style? What kind of style did he win it with?
He just consistent sub 50-second laps.
Over and over and over.
My computer may have just... I mean, if you sleep on him...
If you were...
Okay.
Okay, we're going to keep going. If you're a sub 52-second lap, you are fast.
Okay.
Josh, Seth, and Tony in the Truggies were about 48, 49.
Okay.
Just cruising. Mm-hmm. Josh had a really good, consistent race, won it. Seth was starting to catch him with about 10 minutes left to go, knocking off a 10th here, a second there. He got within 10 seconds of him, and then he's bobbling, crashing, whatever. And he started to fall apart a little bit at the end there, and Tony Sletton almost passed him on the last lap.
Okay.
They finished about 2 seconds apart, I believe, and up until the last 2 minutes, Seth had about 20 seconds over him, over Tony Sletton, over third.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I mean, the kid's learning, and the odd thing is he wheeled the buggy and the Truggy, the way easier thing to drive, you know, but whatever, I mean, he's still getting it done.
Yeah, the whole Van Dalen family has put out just superhuman amounts of effort to in their race program over the last several years, and you can see it. One example that I caught when I was talking to Sean about this was at one point he was talking about how they practice between Seth and Zach and Sean, and you know that they when you watch Seth on the track now, you can see that he'll whip his vehicle over a jump section very naturally. He catches it, lands it, and it's second nature, and that's something that they practice specifically.
Yep.
They're out there saying, okay, go out and whip the truck, Seth, and they would just keep doing that and doing that and doing that, and you know, it's a testament to how hard they work at it, and it's also kind of an example of if you want to win in Minnesota, it's getting to this level. It's you gotta put some time in, and you gotta have some talent, and you gotta practice. You can't just walk in and beat up on everybody.
I gotta say that Minnesota. Hold on.
Oh, Kyle's home.
Getting up your mic because you plugged.
I'm back.
Yeah, you plugged back in.
Hi.
There we go.
Don't get off on my mic.
Is this working?
But anyways, I would like to say Minnesota has the fastest, I'd like to say, club group you'd see. Hold on.
We're distracted by something.
You're good.
All right.
Ooh, shiny thing.
Yeah.
Let's go right.
Well, Greg's pointing at the screen here.
What are we talking
good.
about? Minnesota.
So we got the Nitro Series done. We got Buggy, Truggy.
Okay, Pro Light, Andrew Mowry TQ'd with 2 seconds. Trevor Johnson walked away.
You remember all this stuff off the top of your head. We don't have results to look at either. Joe's just like
So
veritable robot of race result knowledge.
Trevor ended up coming back and winning, or Andrew?
Oh, yeah. No, Trevor won it. Andrew.
I saw the pictures of the buggies online.
Andrew and Trevor were battling out for a while, but Trevor, he's one of those pretty good drivers in your oddball classes, let's say. He's doing very well in Pro Light. He does very well in gas truck, too, which is in Minnesota. We still run gas truck. Actually,
Let's get another one of those motors.
I think it's finally starting to die. Past 2 rounds, we've had to combine 2-wheel drive open and gas truck.
Oh.
We'll see, though. And again, last race was light because more weather at Rick's Hobby Farm. Yay. We were dealing with rain last weekend.
You're trying to run nitro vehicles outside. Mother Nature's not happy about that.
We'll try to
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
So, yeah, that's all I
It's a
can
Pro
remember.
Light.
MNRC, yeah, this is a Pro
Okay.
Light. I think Jared Mowry ended up 3rd or 4th.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, there are like 13 or 14 Pro Lights.
What is your definition of pro light? Is that just a short
sorry,
course?
short course buggy.
Oh,
Pro 2, Pro 4, and
They
Pro
really
Light.
made a big
So
for that.
that's why you had a Pro 2 and Pro Light next together. I was thinking that you were mixing four-wheel drive classes and two-wheel drive.
No.
Okay.
No, if worse came to worse, we'd throw, let's say in the SSVS, if worse came to worse, we'd probably throw Pro 4 and 4 mod, but
I was going to ask you about Pro Light earlier, but
yeah.
Three other people talking,
so I figured I'd just wait.
So anyway, that's all the results I can remember from there.
So we'll cover maybe the rest next time or something along those
Yeah.
lines.
If we have results.
They
Yeah.
will. They will. Jocelyn.
Actually, it's Jason's fault. We'll blame Jason. He's the website, even though he doesn't race anymore.
Oh, he's still the administrator of the
It's
results.
his fault for being a volunteer.
Yeah, no, we paid him. I think we paid him. Don't quote me on that now.
Looks like you're getting what you pay for.
Oh.
Nice.
Love you, Jason. Come back and race.
The website looks awesome now, though.
It does look awesome. Yeah, it's,
I like the live RC and the Neo.
Yeah,
Bush.
they've added Live RC. That's awesome.
Yeah.
got the HTML5 going, and it looks great.
Live Seal do results, right?
Yeah, MNRC, get yourself a cell card, sign up for a free Live RC track account. You get those bad boys uploaded immediately.
We
And you can check in results from your phone in the pit.
You could add cameras to the track and link them in so that people could watch the action live.
You can watch it on your computer.
There's some audio in so you could hear Joe call the races live from anywhere in the world.
Oh,
The choice ends up with the user because there's a mute button on the interface, which is a handy feature.
Nice. So, next thing we wanted to talk about was state of the tire market and spec tires.
Always a fun topic.
Yay!
start a fist fight. RC racers just start talking about spec any.
Yep.
Spec tires, yeah, I was a big proponent of that a few months back, and it was really more of I will buy every tire if we're allowed to, and it really doesn't make a difference because I can't drive any faster with either tire anyways, compared to some of the other guys. In the end, you get the fastest 3 or 4 guys are really going to set what the tire is. Because whatever they're running, I think, is what everybody else is going to run. Regardless of whether it's really better or not, we will set in our minds that tire is better because they're so fast with it. And I think the spec tire idea from a money standpoint is better. I do agree that from a financial standpoint, having a spec tire is better.
Depends if you have spec foam, spec rims.
There's so many pros and cons for this argument.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly it. You could go forever on this.
From the basis of how many tires a guy has to carry,
Yep.
yeah, great. If there only was one tire that existed, that would be the ideal situation. And that's part of the reason why a spec tire nowadays is like it's a catch-22. Like there's so many more tires in the market that a spec tire would be better because you wouldn't have to carry so many tires.
Are you going to pour diesel on it? I mean, it changes the compound
There's
there.
so many unpoliceable aspects of off-road tires.
There's unpoliceable aspects.
Can you tell the difference between a VP 3D or a JCon 3D? There you go.
Sidewall. and if the tire isn't working well, it's got to be a VP.
Definitely.
But there's 2 other factors to the spec tire thing that bother me. One is depending on the chassis you run, one tire might work better on one chassis than another. Also, there are different driving styles. So what works for me may not work for Greg, may not work for Eric, may not work for anybody else. Having the ability to tune that car to your driving style, I think, is important.
Yeah, I could go along with that, especially with the difference in today's chassis. You can go from aluminum chassis to a plastic chassis. Significant different amounts of flex and weight.
Different weight, different amounts of roll. There's a huge difference in the amount of roll between a LOSI 22 and a B4.2 with the electronics out in the side bays of the chassis. The B4.2 just rolls more on a given corner, so you're going to want different tires for that.
Yep, I agree. Now, another positive, though, to a spec tire, you have people that show up to a track that have not had the chance to put the 1,000 laps in that other people have, to have one tire that they know is going to work, and they just have to put that tire on.
That's the beauty of forum boards. So
On a track that may be brand new, like 510, yeah, I can see that. On the other hand, if you go to trackside, for example, where they don't use a spec tire, you can ask anybody out there, and they're going to give you the same answer. It's blue compound front barcodes with open cell foam, and blue compound barcodes in the back with closed cell foam.
Either V1s or V2s.
Both seem to. But they know that works because there's been enough time for everybody to figure out that, this is what you run.
That's pretty much the main argument against spec tires. And if you go to like a major race that has spec tires, like the Reedy race, for instance, or like a national event from a few years ago, I hear this all the time where, like the pro guys will be like, we're running this tire, this is a stupid, everybody hates the spec tire.
Yep.
It's never the tire that works at that track. Because at every track, there's either a local racer group or like the pros have been there before, or there's been enough races at pretty much every track. And like Marshall was saying, unless the track's brand new, you don't need a spec tire because you know what the tire is. It's almost all the time it's one tire.
Yep.
Especially indoor tracks.
Yeah.
On indoor tracks that stay consistent, there's one tire combination.
And that's great, assuming that track has a shop that you can buy those tires at.
Yeah.
Or if you're going there from out of town, you do your homework beforehand. And
go on RC Tech and you're done.
And I mean, a track
that's the only issue with Minnesota, though.
A track that has a shop, I mean, they're either going to sell the spec tires or they're going to sell the tires that work. So, I mean,
so say you go to
a track that spec tire that doesn't have spec tires, they'll do it. Same problem.
Yep.
Say you go to Duluth, say you go to North Branch, or something.
Wheelbrokers, Rochester.
Wheelbrokers does a shop.
Yeah.
Hands down, their facility has been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
He started that up and has gone to no end to make sure that thing has been a racer's track.
I think we kind of shocked him last year when he had 100 entries at the Super.
I couldn't believe we had such a great race at Duluth for a while. Was a really good one, and we had a great race at Starbucks.
Starbucks too, yeah.
Then all of a sudden you show up at Wheelbrokers for, a race. Oh yeah, we'll see how this goes. And it was the best race of the year, hands down.
Best traction, definitely.
Yeah.
I went out to blow the track every round. There was nothing on the track.
That was better than the traction that was at the 2010 Nats.
Well, dude, the 2010 Nats was a complete piece of crap for 10 scale.
It was not that bad.
It wasn't that.
The thing for driving an inferior car.
I was granted.
This podcast that would have added so much to this.
Granted, I was driving a Schumacher. Okay, I'll
wall ride it down the straightaway.
That was fucking that was funny. The first F-bomb dropped.
There it is, episode 2.
Who cares? The FCC ain't watching this thing.
Yep.
We'll bleep that.
No, we're not bleeping. It's
fucking.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, enough of that. No, the track didn't groove at the 2010 Nats.
It was. We had some rain on and off, but either way, that had been, until that race, that had been the best traction I had ever seen.
Really? Oh, man.
That traction was by far the best I had ever seen, and it was just a great racing surface, and the best part about that track is they did not overdo the jumps. You didn't have 4-foot jumps. It was a scale track.
Yep.
I could go on and on and on for days ranting about dumb track designs that involve jumps.
Crossovers, baby.
Races that are literally ruined just because one jump has a stupid landing.
Yep.
Mostly major races. Like, the pro guys will adapt to anything. But, like, for the average guy that spends thousands of dollars to go to a major national race and gets, like, 2 practice runs, and, his skills aren't polished up enough to adapt to something in 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
He needs quite a bit of laps. And then these tracks have just ridiculous jump sections. I get the races I've been to race at, like national races, almost every single one of them has been ruined by a stupid jump.
2012 Cactus Classic.
2011, 2004 Nationals, 2003 Nationals, 1997 Nationals.
We have a list here.
There's always some
2012 Nitro Nationals.
There's always some jump that is just stupid.
Yeah.
You fly 10 feet in the air and you got a foot and a half to land.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's great for the pros. They can make it look easy, but
Yeah.
all the guys that spent all their money to go to that race.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going down to Joliet back in 2010, that was $1,500 altogether with gas and hotel and entry fee. Well, everything together is about $1,500, and I could think of a lot of better things to spend $1,500 on.
You could have bought another sand rail.
I would love another.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think some of this in Minnesota has been better too. You get the carpooling together to go to some of the bigger jumps, and you can limit some of the.
No one would carpool with me because I was a bastard that just quit smoking, and
You were a little challenging to deal with that weekend.
okay, I was gonna be in a crabby mood anyways, and all of a sudden there's a bunny on the trip. Somebody brought a rabbit with.
Let's get back to the you just quit smoking. Okay, everyone gets you to forget.
There, Tim Larson brings up.
Okay, he's
Bunny
all
on
with the rabbits, right?
Hey, we just lost another listener. Sorry.
Let's go back to the we just quit smoking.
Yeah.
Everybody will forgive you. I think we understand. You know.
That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, sorry to sidetrack on that mini rant.
One
but
quick thing I want to go on. Besides, since I said quitting smoking, if you're an RC racer that smokes, do not quit. I'm not saying do not start smoking, but if you smoke, don't quit. You will lose 3/10 instantly, at least.
And that's Joe's reason to say not to quit. I think the rest of us would all agree that you should work.
So kids out there, if you want to gain 3.3 seconds on a lap, you need to start smoking.
I think that would be
I would say a different way to get the same result would be to just drink Red Bull before you go up for your heat.
I've been trying things to get my nerves to work the same, and I can't. I mean,
try caffeine.
Oh, I have. Nothing can get me smooth, my nerves feeling smooth like a cigarette could.
So your nerves were smooth at one point, huh?
I was still a big pile of anger, but I was a little faster.
He drove better when he was jacked up on
It's funny because you say you quit smoking and then you got more angry, but literally the last couple of years is like the calmest and just smooth, to put it in your words, that I've ever seen you.
It's called having kids. They calm you down a lot. They teach you patience. Because, that is a challenge every day.
So we covered spec tire.
Yeah,
you had mentioned also the state of tires in the market. I think we were talking about the number of tires.
Yeah, well, you mentioned like you go out and buy every tire, right?
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that has increased in recent years that I am not happy about is that there's so many options now. Like 15 years ago, you had 3 tires.
You have to guess.
You carry 3 sets of tires no matter where you went. And nowadays it came. I don't know if it came from A-Scale or what, but A-Scale kind of started that movement towards the multiple tire manufacturers and multiple different compounds that work and all different types of tread patterns. And it's just kind of followed back into this next resurgence in electric, where you have to carry a bin the size of your RC bin full of tires if you want to go to a new track and be confident that you're going to find the right tire.
What I have found successful is buy every tire of one manufacturer, and that's it.
That's pretty much the best bet the guy has right now.
Because, if you try to buy one of everybody, you're going bankrupt and you need another big A-scale bag to carry your tires.
I honestly can say I probably do. I do more than that. I honestly have more tires. I have hole shots for almost everything. but then I carry almost every J Concept tire to a T. And then on top of that, we've thrown in those AKA impacts because every once in a while, they are by far the tire to have.
Yeah, and that's the difficult part is having to throw in that one here and there.
A lot of the stuff is situational too.
Yeah.
One certain tire will work at Jay's from 10:15 to 10:45 in the morning.
Yep.
As long as the sun's shining.
No, at Jay's,
If it's overcast, then you have to switch tire.
double D's or whole shots at Jay's. That's about it.
I'm gonna have to double Joe on this one. Those tires have worked there for the last 17 years.
But
Yeah.
last year, they're fast.
They were faster, but I didn't see them on a winning buggy.
I think you did.
Did we?
Well, I know it wasn't me. I was busy getting rocks stuck in my steering rack, so I couldn't help you there.
Yeah, that was weird. There's sifted dirt in Starbucks.
I found the one pebble that was the size of the gap between the steering bell crank and the inside lip of the nose.
And how you got it in there, too.
Don't miss the triple.
Yeah. Yeah, sometime in June here, I gotta find time to bulldoze that entire track and throw it out a whole new layout, too.
Really?
You're actually going to do that? Has that been done in the last 10 years?
Last three, no. It's always been a new layout, but since, Cody Campbell passed away, we've always kept the same basic, line from the, going into the infield into the triple. We've kept that.
I've been hitting that corner tabletop since I was 15 years old.
That corner tabletop has to be
Is that how you hit that? Because I can't hit it.
What?
That corner tabletop? I swear, I see you, I see Chad, some of these guys clear that thing with ease.
No, that's the little loop-de-loop I wear his old
yeah, okay.
I'd say that track feature has literally been in place since the turn of the millennium.
We've changed it here and there, but it does always go back to that.
I know.
I know for a fact that in 1999, that
Probably.
I vividly remember that the first big race I ever won, and that corner was exactly the same as it is.
The passion of Eric.
You know what? I don't doubt it.
1999.
I don't doubt it. But the problem is that sweeper has to remain the raised sweeper before has to. Yeah. No, not for the rock show anymore. What it is there's an underground creek going through there. And Greg Girton actually saw this a couple years ago, one of his first Starbucks experiences.
It was my first Starbucks experience.
When it rains there, that creek raises. See, Girton and Jabber thought it was coming in, water was coming in through the building, but it was just raising up from the ground, and all their crap that they had on the ground was getting wet. And that raised tabletop is where it goes through, and if that's not raised, that part of the track floods.
Okay.
So that's got to be there now. Okay. But everything else can change. So
I'd be interested in seeing a new. I mean, let's face it, Starbucks is kind of the race of the year for most of us.
Yeah, frustration for others.
For the longest time, it's been the only indoor race. Now that
there was a Minnesota RC Historical Society, you would just start that whole project at Jay's.
And maybe with Midgie, but Midgie was pretty damn epic too. But
I mean, it's the longest running race, the longest standing facility that's been in operation in the history of Minnesota RC racing.
Definitely, yeah. So, but yeah, I gotta find time sometime in June to build that track. I don't have time, but I gotta find it.
That would be cool to see a new track layout out there this year. That would be really neat.
And guess what? The tires are gonna be double D's or whole shots.
I'll bring a couple pairs of impacts just in case.
Yeah, I probably will too, but they won't be faster, especially on the
I will stop trying to run treaded front tires on the front of my two-wheel.
Yeah, that gets a bit aggressive.
Boy, did it steer.
Yeah.
Kind of a handful everywhere else, or everywhere around the track, but boy, did it steer.
Yeah. It was good for about one round, but then it changed.
Yeah.
But anyways, the state of the tire market too, and what we've been seeing is companies jacking other tire designs. And that's happened since the beginning of time, but now they're just doing direct copies. And releasing it under their own crap compound or their own crappy name. And they can't do anything about it because copyright laws overseas aren't the same here and whatever. Yeah, it's just a bummer because some new kid's going to spend his money on product B instead of product A. And that's just...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but it's probably not helping Jason Rona, make up the sales on the tires he would have sold.
Yeah.
Are now being sold
VP?
through VP.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's been done by all of the companies. Every one of these companies has a tire that looks like someone else's tire.
Yeah,
I mean, they all have a tire that was basically designed by Brian Kinwald.
Yeah.
BK bar.
Yeah.
Every single one of these companies ripped that off. So
Yeah.
to be too mad about it is, kind of hypocritical. But
Yeah.
I understand it's a complete, exact copy like this latest one seems to be. But.
Yeah.
The great thing about the BK bar tire was just Kinwald came up with that when he came up with the idea to turn one of the tires inside out.
Yeah.
Which tire it was? It was a Losi tire.
Yeah, that was back when Kimmel was at SoCal every single day, and
Yeah.
he tried pretty much anything you could possibly try with an RC tire.
Right. But that's where that tread came from, and it's the fact that it still works today just amuses me.
Yeah. But that's the thing too. I mean, something that happens overseas can't be controlled. It's kind of like the situation between BMW and what's that Shanghai whatever crappy Chinese knockoff they came up with the BMW X5. Exact knockoff they came up with. BMW sued them, and they're like, well, too bad. Here in a different country.
For what?
Yeah.
Call it Rocky from Rocky 5.
Yeah. By the way, how didn't Sylvester Stallone get sued by Don King there? Because that was a...
Yeah,
Speaking of exact replicas.
Anyways, enough of Rocky 5 shot.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
Does not need to discuss.
Yeah. What about Rocky 6?
Better than Rocky 5.
Yeah, I suppose.
Can't beat the original though.
No, dude. Best line of all the Rocky movies was Rocky 2. How would you like to invest in condos? Pulls them in close.
Oh no, that
was Rocky 2.
Yeah.
Pulls them in close. I never use them.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a good line.
Yeah, that almost made the whole movie right there. Another topic I personally wanted to touch on because Minnesota has another new hobby shop, and I use that term quite loosely in the RC world, in Albertville.
Is it in the outlet mall?
Close to it.
Yeah.
It's close to it, so the prices are going to be rocket high. I've had an issue with local hobby shops around here for quite some time. I'm not talking about the hobby shops at the track, because Wheel Brokers 510 and I'll even say MMR have what the racers need at a very reasonable price. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about what has happened to the local hobby shop scene in the past 15 years. Very limited selection, which I can kind of understand with some of them. Others, it's just pure laziness of not knowing the market. Others, and then another issue I have is sky-high prices. Like, a good example is off of Stormer Hobbies, you can get a pair of CRC Greylows for $11.99 for the 12 scale and CRC Chromes for the front for $10.99. So, plus shipping, whatever, but shipping's not nearly as much as gasoline, so you buy in bulk and whatever. But then, so I thought I'd support a local hobby shop. I'm like, yeah, I'll order these tires through you. $19.99 for a pair of rear Greylows and $18.99 for a set of fronts. And I drive a piece of crap Chevy Tahoe that gets 50 miles to the gallon. Yeah, that is my fault, but you gotta add in gas price.
I thought you sold that.
Well, Tahoe's right outside. I've been
You park next to it.
Yeah.
I thought that was Greg's.
Yeah. I should trade him for his four-wheeler.
That might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
I could better gas mileage.
But you got to add in gas mileage and the cost of the part, and with I'm not going to use the word getting pocket raped,
Well, you
just did.
but pretty close.
We gotta break out the bleeper again.
Whatever level pocket raped is, he's referring to the level just one step below it.
Yeah.
It's got a good ring to it. I gotta say, you can
But I'm sick of it. I mean, these guys
They can make their money without charging 50% more.
Yeah, exactly. They can make money, and they could sell more by charging less. They could Walmart the hell out of the Minnesota market, you know.
Well, it'd be nice to be able to. I mean, I would pay more to have it locally. The impulse buying, I would pay more for that. But to be to the point to where you're charging so much that people will not legitimately buy that product, and therefore they have foam tires on the wall for 2 years that are dried out, and then the regular, some newbie racer is going to go buy those, overpay, spend $40 on a set of foams they're going to wear out in one race, and then say RC racing sucks and never race again.
Yeah, and we don't have the same quality of drivers working at these hobby shops anymore either. Brian Post was the last, I'd say, top on-road driver, I could say at least, that was working. Then they switch buildings, he gets screwed over, and that's basically what happened there.
I unapologetically shop online.
Me too.
What do any of these hobby shops do to help my situation?
They don't
charge a lot of money, and they don't open tracks.
Yeah, and they don't do anything to help.
E-Main does way more for the scene that I'm interested in than any of these local hobby shops.
You know what? I'm not seeing many of these hobby shop guys at the track slinging stuff like you used to. The
only time you see it where it's good is like we were talking about earlier at Pine City.
Yeah.
You get the hobby shop at the track.
Yeah, a true pro shop at a track.
I already covered that. The pro shop at the track is a good thing. And they know what the hell they're doing.
But the standard hobby shops that used to get people into the hobby nowadays are almost driving people out more than they are helping.
Yeah.
If they're doing anything, they're selling them, Traxxas vehicles.
But even that's back.
Which, I've heard stories of one shop in town selling about 6 to 7 of those kits a day.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're still out there, and people are buying them.
They probably make a lot of money on the
they're
market.
Charging probably $75 to $100 more for that kit than A-Main Hobbies.
This shop doesn't have
and I listen to these guys sit there whine about, oh, you don't make any money off of kits if you charge what these guys do. Well, you just recently, see, I used to buy into that just until this past year and a half when I started talking to certain people who will remain unnamed because I don't want to make them look to be the a-hole in the situation. I'll be the a-hole. They're making plenty, alright? They are making plenty. They're just getting straight greedy. What was it? 7 years ago now, right when TCHR was closing, I went into...
7 years ago?
Yeah, that was 7 years.
I've never seen it.
I straight went into Hobbytown USA in Brooklyn Park to get a can of spray paint that they charged me.
The only reason to go to that Hobbytown.
They charged me $8.95 for it in the first place. But I looked around, and this is the point where the Triple XCR had just come out. They had a Double XCR on the shelf, on clearance for $245. You know what? It's that mentality that makes me so angry, and that I wanted to bring it up in the first episode, but we ran out of time and we're running long here. But it still makes me incredibly angry that these guys think that us racers will pay for that, and they don't blame us for buying for them going out of business. Well, guess what? You're the one trying to stick it to us with a policeman's nights.
They're looking to prey on the people that don't know any better, that roll in Because honestly, I think they probably know that anybody who really has a grasp as to what things cost and how to go about getting it are just going to probably buy it online.
Yeah.
They're looking for the mom with the kid that comes in because he wants a toy car and
$500.
there you go. Yeah,
Good deal.
it's they're preying on the people that don't know any better.
Yeah. And then the amount they carry is just pathetic. But I mean, I'd order it from them if they not even give me a good deal. Just charge what everyone else charges. So.
Yeah, as far. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's frustrating to see, but at the same time, I can kind of understand. They need to make money, but at the same time.
Chickman, I don't think you're.
Hey,
there we go. There we go. Hi.
I think it's frustrating to see, but at the same time, they need to make money. It would be, as racers, we look at it, I think, a little differently than just the pure hobbyists.
They're making their living off of it, so no doubt they've studied their economies of scale much more than we have. I'm sure they figured out their price point.
One would hope
works
so.
best for them.
One would hope that
we
they're
can sit
studying
armchair and
that.
quarterback their decision all we want, but I'm sure they're paying the rent at that place. So.
But
You know what? There's also a lot of cheap places to rent now in good locations because the economy took a dump how many years ago, and people are still using that as a silly excuse. But it's
hard to do the numbers on RC and feel that it's profitable when it comes to sales. So from that aspect.
But hey, I'm not the only one in the RC world here that hates his job and could actually stand to make a living from breaking even.
It's possible that you could go from what you do now to owning your own hobby shop and be happy and successful. Whether you're more or less stress may come to be seen.
Well, I don't think I'd be successful, but I sure would be happy.
You would enjoy your job.
Yeah.
That way.
You'd be smiling all the way down the financial toilet. Laughing the whole way. You're spinning the bowl.
The reason I say break even is because the cost of daycare and the cost of gas to get the kids back and forth to daycare, I am breaking even. I make $0 a week.
I think the key is if you were going to get into a actual building, you should probably look at maybe doing the track aspect as well, because that's, I think, where you get a lot of that money with entry fees, things like that, where you're not actually providing anything.
Yeah.
You can talk about it all you want, but the old adage goes, well, the best way to make $1 million in the RC industry is to start with 2.
Yeah, I guess, but you get guys like me who are sick of the local scene and open up something out of anger too.
That's always a good way to start a business.
It's worked for my series. Why not start a business on that same model?
Approach every facet of life with anger.
Yeah.
You thought he was so much calmer after he stopped smoking. He just hides it better.
The sad thing is he may be calmer.
You know what? At home, you would not even believe I'm me.
Yep.
I'm just, usually nice and calm.
I think he's calmed down a lot over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it's called getting older and realizing the fact that you are where you are in life and
more accepting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Life is just a series of coming to terms with various things.
Yep.
Until you die.
So we're about ready to call it quits here and go start the fire, right?
Yeah, and ending on that super positive, uplifting note.
So, let's talk about the next rounds. June is a very busy month. I want to cover the whole month in case we don't have time to get to the listeners in between.
Any of them are, can you think anyone's still listening at this point?
I
want to give
listed though.
A shout out to anyone that has listened to all of this point.
You would be
that person.
If you hear this, please post something.
Completely impressed. One of those two things.
You would be surprised how many people listen to the first podcast from front to back and like the whole thing.
In all seriousness, I did.
Yeah.
You put it on while you're working, it's just like listening to talk radio.
Yeah.
It's great.
Except for more of a topic than you're interested in instead of pretending like you're interested in politics.
And no Menards ads.
Yeah. Well, it depends. You know what? If we put it somewhere besides YouTube, if we put it on one of those free podcast sites, they might throw some Menards ads in there.
They
Awesome.
probably would. That's why we stuck to the YouTube thing for now.
We'll see what we can do. But anyways,
so races in June. What do we got?
Races in June.
Sorry for you to get out of here.
Yeah. June 1st. June 1st is round number 3 of the Super Saturday Electric Series at Full Throttle Raceway at Sean Van Dalen's house.
Now, what's the story on this one? That he's going to have 510 available in case it rains.
Yes. We are 100% guaranteed race.
Okay, now, if we race outside like the original intention is it on the property of 510 or at Sean's house?
It's at Sean's house.
Got it.
We are not going to be on the property of 510.
Okay.
So we got that going. Then the week after that. No, I got it. The week after that, racing for me, but my sister's getting married. But
We don't know the day for sure.
Yeah.
There is the final weekend in the Turf versus Dirt at 510. June 7th, 8th, and 9th. Then the week after that is round number 3 for the Minnesota Nitro Series at Loose Nuts in North Branch. It's one of the more fun races. But I heard
sweat and dust.
But I heard they're moving all the festivities and crap they have for Father's Day weekend when we have the Nitro Series weekend. I heard they're moving to the weekend for my race. The week after, round number 4 of the Super Saturday Electric Series will be the week after the Nitro Series at Loose Nuts.
Okay.
I've lost what date I'm even on now. So
that would be the 21st or 22nd.
Yeah, June 22nd is round number 4.
The day of solstice.
Yeah. Well, okay. You must have a calendar up with things that. Yeah.
I just might.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's basically June. Hopefully I can find time in there to build the Starbuck track. Then the Minnesota State Champs, Off-Road State Champs, are in Starbuck the weekend after the 4th of July. So actually I'm going to figure out a date to do the track and call out for volunteers, even though I probably won't get any. But I'll try. I mean, I can fit plenty in the Tahoe. So we'll wrap it up for this week. I think we're at 2 hours close.
Probably.
There have been some breaks in there, but it's about the same length as the first one.
Yeah. Well, we tried to shorten it up, but
I think we found our timeline.
Might as well just let her rip.
Yeah, let it rip. Whatever. It's good.
6 more hours in a workday, you got to listen to something else.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be doing this again in probably 30 days, and
hopefully maybe less. But
we'll have the fridge restocked, so anybody can make it. It was nice having you guys both on the show.
Thank you. Had a blast. This was fun.
Thank you.
All right.
And big thanks to Greg and Joe for taking the initiative to start such a thing.
Absolutely.
First podcast in Minnesota, focused solely on Minnesota RC racing. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah,
I do too.
We'll see who's going to be the first person to flatter us.
I think that just happened. We're good.
That was as close as Eric gets.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying flatter us as an imitation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'll be a podcast on
There'll be a time when he is
Yeah.
broadcast based on the Minnesota Nitro Series.
We did have a couple overseas listeners on the last.
You can bet that they are hard at work in their podcast sweatshop trying to recreate it.
Yep. Coming up next, ran out of talent in Chinese accents.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Guangzhou.
we ran out of talent for the week, so I'm Joe Zer Jr.
This is Greg.
This is Marshall Scurry.
Eric Swanson.
Till next time, we'll see you at the track.